The following reading is a short piece by Akutagawa Ryunosuke titled Piano. Set in the Yamate district of Yokohama during autumn, the story takes place among the ruins left by a massive earthquake. Amidst the overgrown weeds of a collapsed house lies an abandoned, broken grand piano. Through the quiet perspective of a realist narrator who hears an inexplicable faint sound from the ruined instrument, this poetic vignette beautifully captures the melancholy and quiet resilience found in decay. Please enjoy this highly atmospheric tale. Piano Akutagawa Ryunosuke. One rainy autumn day, I was walking through the Yamate district of Yokohama to visit someone. The devastation in this area remained almost unchanged from the time of the earthquake. If it had changed even the slightest bit, it was only that goosefoot weeds had grown among the layers of fallen slate roofs and brick walls scattered all over. In fact, in the ruins of one collapsed house, even a bow-shaped grand piano with its lid open lay half crushed by a wall, its keyboard glistening wetly. Not only that, but sheet music books of various sizes were also getting their pink, light blue, and pale yellow, western-lettered covers wet among the faintly coloured goosefoot weeds. I discussed a certain complicated matter with the person I visited. The discussion was not easily settled. Finally, after night had fallen, I at last decided to take my leave from their house, and even then it was only after promising to meet again in the near future. Fortunately, the rain had stopped. What's more, the moon occasionally leaked its light through the wind-swept sky to avoid missing my train. The government railway trains, where smoking was prohibited, were of course out of the question for me. I walked as briskly as I could. Then suddenly, what I heard was the sound of someone striking a piano. No, rather than striking, it was the sound of touching it. I involuntarily slowed my pace and looked around the desolate surroundings. The piano was just then making its long, narrow keyboard faintly visible in the moonlight. That piano amidst the goosefoot weeds. However, there was no sign of anyone anywhere. It was just a single note, but it was unmistakably a piano. I felt somewhat creeped out and tried to hasten my pace once more. At that moment, the piano I'd left behind certainly let out another faint sound. Of course, without looking back, I quickly continued to hasten my steps, feeling a gust of moisture-laden wind seeing me off. I was undoubtedly too much of a realist to add a supernatural interpretation to the sound of this piano, to be sure, even if no human figure could be seen. Perhaps a cat had been lurking around that collapsed wall. If it wasn't a cat, I also enumerated other possibilities like weasels or toads. Still, it was strange anyway that the piano had sounded without the help of human hands. About 5 days later, I happened to pass through the same Yamate area for the same matter. The piano, as always, squatted quietly among the goosefoot weeds. The scattered sheet music books in pink, light blue, and pale yellow also remained unchanged from before. Only today, not just those books, but also the crumbled bricks and slate were shining in the light of the clear autumn sky. I stepped closer to the front of the piano, taking care not to step on the sheet music. Looking at the piano right before my eyes now, the ivory of the keyboard had lost its luster, and the lacquer on the lid was peeling off. In particular, a single vine resembling a wild grape was coiled around its leg. Standing before this piano, I felt something akin to disappointment. In the first place, I wonder if this can even make a sound. I said this to myself. Then, at that exact moment, the piano suddenly let out a faint sound. It was almost as if it were scolding my doubt. However, I was not surprised. Not only that, but I felt a smile rise to my lips. The piano even now spread its keyboard out, gleaming pale white in the sunlight. But there, before I knew it, a single fallen chestnut was rolling. After turning back to the road, I looked back once more at these ruins. The chestnut tree, which I had finally noticed, was pressed down by the slate roof, covering the piano at an angle. But either way was fine. I merely fixed my eyes on the bow-shaped grand piano amidst the goosefoot weeds. On that piano which, since the earthquake last year, had preserved a sound known to no one.